Hi, Shirley. Thank you very
Hi,
much for your time for this
thank you.
conversation to Radio Concierto in Chile.
Thank you.
Uh, Garbage is coming to Chile in a few days. We are so excited about it. You have a huge community of fans in our country, and there's a lot of expectation for the show at Movistar Arena and in Rec Festival in Concepción. You came to Chile with Garbage the last time in 2016. What do you remember about that show and those days in Chile?
Oh, I fell in love in Chile. I came to Santiago and I absolutely fell in love. First of all, the food was insane. Like, I couldn't believe the food. We went to some fancy restaurant and it blew my brains. I was amazed by how beautiful the city was. I was amazed by the warmth of the people. I made a lot of friends down there, and I've really fallen in love with the Chilean people. I came back to Chile, I think in the end of it was either 2018 or 2019, forgive me, but it was when you had the big social uprisings.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was blown away. It will never leave me, the experiences I had. I really, I think about myself as pre the social uprisings of Chile and post the
Okay.
uprisings in Chile, simply because I just learned so much about the resilience of the people and and the power of the people, and
Uh-huh.
it really profoundly moved me. And so I'm very excited to be coming back to see my friends, to be in the amazing country that has captured my imagination and my heart. And I'm very proud that Garbage at the on our 30th year of being in a band together get to
Okay.
come down and play.
Okay, we are going to talk about later about your friends in Chile and about that experience with the social outbreak at the streets of Santiago. But let's talk about the 90s. Today, I think there are so many bands and artists that looks like the bands of the 90s, that sounds like the bands of the 90s. There seem to be a kind of nostalgia, for those years. Too many young people are listening right now and knowing the music of that decade. And we're seeing how big bands of the 90s are made up and playing again. What do you think is the seal or the imprint of the sound of and the attitude of the 90s that makes sense today, 30 years after, for the new generations?
Well, to be fair, the 90s were the last sort of generation that were rebellious. And I think this is why there's such an attraction towards 90s music today, because we're, of course, living in very uncertain in times. There's a lot of upheaval in the world, and that reflects itself in music. And I think young people are sort of sick and tired of tuning into the more saccharine, more mainstream sound of pop music. I think they're looking for something different. They're looking for something that reflects the times. And so they're attracted to this sound of rebellion, And I think that's why we're seeing young bands like Fontaines DC, Idols, Kneecap. They're all provocative and they're all taking their cues from sort of previous sort of generations where there was more aggression and questioning and forcefulness in music.
Yeah, sure. Talking about the music, in those years there was too much experimentation, no? Like in 60s, with another instruments, with another technologies, and maybe this is important too for the new generations.
I think in the age of the machine, experimentation is vital and necessary and thrilling. Mistakes, detours, human frailty, all the emotions and passions that arise from the human heart are more needed now than ever. And I think that's again why people are veering away from pop music, which is essentially made by machines, and veering towards a more fragile, aggressive, joyful sound. And, experimentation is so important when music sounds, in pop mainstream, music sounds the same. They're written by a handful of people, the same people. They're produced by a handful of the same people, and they're performed by people that they all kind of sound alike, And I think people are yearning for the esoteric, they're yearning for something that sounds different to the machine. Does that make any sense? When we have all these algorithms, these Spotify algorithms and so on and so forth, everyone wants to break the algorithm. People are tired of being spoon-fed. They want to find something that's a little more authentic.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Shirley, in 2 days, we are going to commemorate the International Women's Day. And you're kind of a feminist icon, You talk about the advances and setbacks of the movement at social networks, wherever you are now. Talking about the advances in particular, do you see the impact of the last feminist waves at music? Today, pop music, it's mostly dominated by big and powerful women, but I suppose there is a long way to go. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. There's a long way to go. I do see some advancements in particularly in music, where younger generations of female artists are so much more switched on than my generation ever was, and the generations that preceded mine. They're way more switched on. They're way more outspoken en masse. Back in my generation, there was a few of us, just a handful of us, speaking out on certain issues. Now, all the young girls, even the most pop mainstream stars, are willing to use their voice in trying to push forward, women's rights. And I really am grateful for that. It excites me. Selena Gomez will speak out about it. Chapel Roan, Billie Eilish. They're all, doing their best to try and speak up for the advancement of women in our societies that still remain, unfortunately, heavily skewed towards the patriarchy.
Yeah. Let's talk right now about your friends in Chile and your experience in 2019. You're a very good friend of the Chilean actress and writer Daniela Vega. How did you meet her, and how you remember your performance as host in one chapter of the documentary series Peace, Peace, Now in 2019 with the social outbreak that we are talking about at the streets of Santiago?
No, it was one of the most profound experiences of my life. Wow. And I don't say that lightly. I've done a lot of amazing things. I've seen a lot of things. I've been all over the world. But that experience coming down on the streets of Santiago in 2019 was profound. I met Dani Vega at one of my shows in New York. I had written on social media about how much I loved her performance in A Woman... Oh, what's the name of the movie? A Woman...
Una Mujer Fantástica.
Yes, Fantastic Woman.
Fantastic Woman.
And I saw that movie and I loved it, and I wrote about her. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat.
No.
I wrote about her on my social media platforms, and she came to one of my shows in New York, and we met, and we just got on like a house on fire. And I feel very, very strongly about her as an actress, as an amazing singer, as a human being. I am someone who believes strongly in the rights of trans women, trans men, LGBTQ. Our community are very important to Garbage. We've stood by them from the very beginning, and we always will. So yeah, coming down to shoot the documentary about the disappeared in Chile during the Pinochet regime was life-changing for me. I met the most incredible women who had the most appalling, harrowing stories. I stood in a march where they were the relatives of the disappeared were protesting. They're still looking for answers for their beloveds who were disappeared by the Pinochet regime. and it was so moving and so powerful. It absolutely, I feel like it's just changed me as a human being. I don't think I will ever be the same after having come down to Santiago. And the women of Latin America in general have really inspired me. The Ni Una Menos movement was also something that shook me and inspired me. I wrote a song that coming out when I came back. I wrote the words to "The Men Who Rule the World," which is a song off our 7th record. And there's just something that has changed inside of me thanks to Chile.
Shirley, just for curiosity, what are you listening right now? What kind of artists are you interested in these days?
Well, I listen to a lot of different type of music, to be honest, but I'm really excited by this sort of I'm obsessed with Kneecap. I love Fontaine's DC, Idols. I'm obsessed by. There's a young band out of Australia right now called Eka Vandal, who I'm obsessed with. I love Laura Marling. I mean, I love Jenny Beth. There's so many people who I could call out that I listen to. But I listen to a lot of jazz music. Constant Follower, a band out of Scotland, I'm obsessed by. I love music, and I'll always listen to it. But I'm always attracted by the rebel. That's what I'm attracted to in general. Like they are the ones who catch my attention for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure, but that whether I grew up in the Clash and Patti Smith and post punk and I like those who are telling the truth and who are willing to stand up against the grain and speak out. That's what excites me.
Great. Our time is almost over.
No, don't leave me.
But could you invite Shirley to the people out there to the show in Movistar Arena on March 14, please?
Oh, I don't think there's anything I can say right now that will change anybody's mind. But I'm very grateful to those who are coming to see us, and we will do our very, very best to thrill you, and you hopefully will leave us feeling better than when you entered the arena. And please know that the 4 of us who have been doing this for a very long time are extremely excited and very, very honoured to be coming back to Chile and playing Santiago.
Great. Thank you very much, Shirley. It's an honor and a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you.